911, what's your emergency? 911, what's your emergency?
Be advised, Car 4 has control of the pursuit. Proceed with caution.
Hey, everybody. How are you? It's good to have you here. I know this isn't my normal uh, live night, but I have our special guest and friend Fig Solves with us today, and I'm going live to help accommodate such a busy guy, you guys, and so this worked out for both of us to do it now. And the only thing I want to say is I'm really sorry, Steve from Steve's True, uh, excuse me, True Crime Web. I know you're live right now. I'm not trying to hone in on your live, but for everyone who has to watch this on a replay, I'm totally down with that. This will be a really great conversation, and I'm so looking forward to it. Without further ado, I'm going to bring Fig on with us. He just got here. And so everyone, please remain cordial to one another, follow the live and the channel rules, and we'll all be good. Welcome, Fig.
Hey, how's it going, Kristen?
I'm good. How are you, my dear?
Good. Just running around.
Just running around, busy. I hear you. I know between my life and my healthy life and my working out and trying to still be a good wife and mother and grandmother and all the other things, it's hard.
Yeah, juggling lots of things.
Lots of things. Yeah, lots of things. But, hey, we get through it, right?
We get through it. Yeah.
We get through it. I want to say I'm so glad that you're with me. I get that, you're a busy guy, like I said, and you have so much going on. So for you to take time out for us here behind the crime door, I'm really thrilled to have you.
Of course.
you have been doing some really amazing work. I was just talking with one of our mutual friends about you today, and he was telling me, he agreed. He said, a lot of what you've been doing is calling out the bad actors that surround Delphi and basically putting them in their place, because you're using facts, fact-based analysis, and you really just don't play games. You just put it out there, and let everybody else kind of make up their own minds. But I love it. Every time one of your videos comes on to my playlist, I am like, yes, I am so down for this, because I know that it's going to be thought-provoking. I know that it's going to give us something new and something important. And I feel the same way about the captain when he drops stuff. So
Yeah, I've just always been interested in the truth with this case. And some people say that, but maybe that's not what they're in it for. They like the entertainment. So I don't go around and look at these bad actors, see what they're doing or their names or talk about them. I just kind of get wind of some rumors that are going on. And a lot of this information that I had, especially like the Ron Logan stuff, I've had it for a while. And it's like, all right, do I even have to talk about this? Because it just seems so ridiculous. And then I just keep hearing more and more about it. I'm like, here, I'm just going to do what I do, present it how I know. And here's the information that I've been made aware of, and just put that out there. And everyone they could still think it's Ron Logan. It doesn't bother me. To each his
yeah,
own. And some
everybody's
people,
up to, everybody's entitled to their own opinions, obviously. But I just think that you debunk so much, and you do it, like I said, so well, with evidence, with common sense, with critical thinking. I definitely feel that in this day and age, we're not teaching our children how to critically think for themselves anymore, and how to do that kind of analysis. And sadly, there's just a lot of people that jump on bandwagons or hangers on of certain rhetoric or whatever, just in general, not just in the true crime world. But I think in the last couple of years since I've had my channel on YouTube, I found that there's a lot of people out there that really don't do any kind of research at all on a case. They just jump in and start watching videos, and they just start believing everything that's said to them. And that's scary.
Yeah, maybe they like some creators, they trust them, they feel like some creators have done the research for them, but it's just not always the case. And I think it goes back to just my background and working on problem solving and using the scientific method, where it's all about getting to the truth. And I try and prove myself wrong a lot of times, and sometimes I do, and then I just come up with what I come up with as far as the truth goes. And maybe many people started off with wanting to find the truth, but then they start to try and be right, and being right becomes more important than the truth. So I started off wanting the truth, and I've stuck with wanting the truth. I think that's most important. And maybe that's a turnoff for some people. Maybe I'm not as entertaining because I don't have these wild theories. And of course I theorize sometimes because I'm trying to figure things out. But if I then learn something, I'm like, nope, I was wrong, I was off. That's fine.
Right.
I think most people, like our audiences, appreciate that. Some humility, say, hey, I thought it was this, and guess what? It wasn't. But I do try and get to the truth. And sometimes, you think it's one thing, and then something else can come about. But really, with
Exactly.
that Ron Logan stuff, there was this missing piece, this 5-page Indiana State Police report that I don't think a lot of people had access to. So I see why he looks suspicious. I mean, they're found on his property. He did tell a lie. Now I learned it technically he didn't lie about his alibi, because he never lied about where he was or at what time, but he did tell a lie. So I get why people thought he was suspicious. But once this other report came out, or that I had access to it, I'm like, oh, I see what they did here. This is they really wanted that search warrant. And there's part, I spoke with Julia Cowley from the FBI, and we had some discussions off air, and she just didn't want to sound critical. And she's such a professional. She wasn't critical, but the gist of it is she saw what I saw. Once she watched the Ron Logan video that I did, she saw the ISP report, and
Mhm.
she said good job, because she saw what I saw, and I guess that's kind of really all I could say. But she knew where I was coming from.
Yeah, and I think that, like I said, you broke it down for us so well in that video that it's really hard to not see it. And I, for those that still don't, because I know there's plenty out there that still don't, I just I don't understand that. I have thoroughly enjoyed the first two segments of your interview with her. She is amazing. Just to listen to her describe, you know, how she went about her job and all the different types of cases and things that she has worked on. Man, she definitely has um, the experience to
Hmm.
talk about, serial killers and all kinds of murder type scenarios. So I thought it so far, and I know you've got more coming. It's been a really good
Hmm.
series. I'm so glad that you did that. The more we can hear from professionals who actually do this for a
Hmm.
living,
Hmm.
and give us insight, I think it helps us to not only be better in our analysis of things and the way we look at things and go about things, but it gives just the general public an idea of how the FBI works
Hmm.
and how these cases, evolve. I think, in my opinion, and I don't know, you can expound on this, but um, don't you get a feeling that most people have absolutely no clue how any of this works?
Right. Especially with how the FBI, they provide services. So sometimes they'll lead the investigation if that's what they're asked to do. And my understanding is there's a cost, right? Someone has to pay for the FBI services. Usually it's tax dollars from the state, if it's state
Right.
police. But they'll ask them, hey, could you come, get the cell phone data for us? Could you find out where someone was that day? So it's very specific services that start and end. Or could you do a profile for us? Well, there's a start and end to that. It's not like they just make infinite profiles over and over and over until you catch someone. So that's what you reach out to the FBI, and they offer supportive services to state police or local police. So that's kind of what they do, and what I've learned. And she even touched on kind of the roles that they play. Sometimes, yes, they do lead investigations, if that's kind of what they all decide collectively. So yeah, I don't think people really understand the roles that the FBI play.
Mm-mm. They also don't like the fact that they make mistakes. One of the things I found in covering true crime, in the last 3.5 years I've been doing it online, first on Reddit and now here, I find that people seem to just not have um, any I don't know, any understanding that the people that do law enforcement, the people who, work behind the scenes in forensics and crime scene investigation and all of that, they're just normal people like us. They're human beings, they have a job, and they make mistakes in their job, or they overlook things just like the rest of us that do our own jobs. I don't
Mhm.
think there's any perfection out there. If there is, boy, I haven't run across it
Mhm.
anywhere. I mean, I'm not I'm not perfect. I definitely not. I make mistakes every day. Um, and they just don't have any, um, I don't know, what am I trying to think of the here? They don't know how to look at the statistics of that and the amount, just say the amount of tips in the Delphi
Mhm.
investigation, how easily it would be to lose one when they
Mhm.
had this mountain that they were going through. And yet, yeah, they had a database that was trying to help them sort this and all of that. But that whole being so critical of law enforcement sometimes just absolutely floors me.
Mhm. Yeah, and maybe some people put them on a pedestal for some reason, and yeah, think they're supposed to be perfect. But there's the people side of things, and then there's also the process side of things. So profiling is not a process, as Julia explained, that leads to an offender. That's not what it's meant for. It's not a perfect process. It's a tool that will help narrow it down and maybe give a spot to look at, things to consider. But, and she even said it's between a hard science and a soft science. You use some things, some historical data, statistics, but then I like a quote that she said, tell me about one serial killer, and that's one serial killer. Like, they're very unique. You could use some things that are some certain traits that cross over, but each different serial killer is specific, and you can't just box everything into one. So
I loved that too. The reason being is because you know, as being my friend, that I have a grandson who's autistic. And when he was diagnosed, before he was 2, the psychiatrist who diagnosed him looked at us and said, if you see one autistic person, you've seen one autistic person.
Right.
Everyone is different. Every single one is different, and you can't compare them. And so when she said that, that's what that reminded me of. And it reminded me of him, because he told us at that time, when he's 17 years old, you will look at him and you're not going to know. And he is 17. And when you look at him, you can't tell. I mean, he was right on the money with that. But I think it's true when it comes to serial killers. There are certain things that they might all have, but most of them are completely different in their and how you would go about even identifying them, because so many of them have flown under the radar, even with profiles from the Behavioral Analysis Unit, the BAU, from the FBI. Dennis Rader comes to mind, obviously, the BTK killer, the Green River killer, Gary Ridgway is another one. He was on law enforcement radar. They interviewed him. And that was, it took another 20 years for them to capture him. So, you can also look at Rex Heuermann the same way. I mean, all the ones that are out there that are pretty well known, even Ted Bundy for that matter. So I agree wholeheartedly, and was glad to hear her say that. And I liked the way she broke it down when she said that just because you have a profile doesn't mean it's going to lead you to the killer.
Right.
And I think a lot of people believe that it will.
Yeah. So kind of how I got in contact with her was Brett from the prosecutors. When I interviewed them, Brett and Alice from the prosecutors podcast.
Right.
Yeah, we'll stay in touch, me and Brett, every so often. Such a nice guy, genuine
I really
dude.
liked him.
And he's like, "Hey, Fig, sends me an email. Like, have you talked to this person?" And I was like, "No, you know what? It's popped up on my podcast as suggestions, the consult. So no." And so I looked her up a little bit. And I was like, "Wow, she's legit." But even I didn't, because she's so modest, I didn't know all of the cases that she worked on. But when she's like, "Oh yeah, Long Island serial killer," who else did she work on? D'Angelo, the guy, the Golden State. I'm like, oh my. So I just learned it when we started recording. I'm like, oh my God, this person has done all these cases. So it threw me off a little bit. I mean, I know she was well known, and she's also Jim Clemente's predecessor. I guess she took his spot for a while. I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's amazing, and it just reminds me of some of the scientists that I work with, how they answer different questions. And, we spoke for about 2 hours and 15 minutes, and probably all that's out there right now, what is it? Probably like an hour and 15 minutes that I've released. And I'll probably have more. We talked about the JonBenet Ramsey case.
Oh, I'm anxious to hear that.
Okay, so I'll put that out. My wife's interested in it too. She's like, I'm most interested in that, the JonBenet Ramsey case, more than the Delphi.
I mean, I'm definitely, you know how I feel about Delphi. That is so near and dear to my heart. But JonBenet is like so big, and I so want justice for her. And I know that, finally they've got some movement, and I'm hoping that we get something from that. So I'm anxious to hear what she has to say.
Yeah, she did a study when she was going through her FBI training, and they did a study. I don't want to give too much away, but I'll say let's say I'm set in my mind. I'm always open, but she, like, I'll be out there. I think someone inside the home knows. And I told her it's because when I don't know all the details, then I fall back on statistics. And as we know, if child's killed inside the home, the statistics that a family member was involved is extremely high. If they're
Yep.
outside, like in Delphi, when children are killed outside of the home, it's never immediate family, because otherwise they would have just killed them inside the house, right? Why would you wait until they're outside in a strange area to do it then? Yeah, because
I
risk of
agree
being
with
seen.
you. I agree with you. I can, no matter what they say, I cannot absolutely get past that it was someone in that family, either dad, mom, the young son, or the other son. The
I'm
older
right with
son.
you, but
The older son.
what she told me, and it's incomplete, made me for the first time kind of be like, that's very interesting. Okay. So I don't want to give too much away, but I'm with you. I'm like, nope. Now it's still incomplete, meaning she would still have to check some more things out, some information she doesn't know, but it was the first time I
Mhm.
felt compelled to be open to it, just because there's never been a good reason to. So I'm relying on the statistics. And if someone wants to show me evidence or give me a good
Right.
reason to think
Yeah, I
different,
mean, if
then I'm
there's
open to it.
evidence that points somewhere else, then fine, I'm gonna go there, but no one's been able to, for me with JonBenet, no one has been ever able to talk about why an offender would write that note. And to me, that ransom note is huge,
That-
because
That's what
that
we
to me,
talk about.
it's just huge. It's
So,
just huge. So I can't get past that, you know?
that's
I'm
what we
anxious.
talk about.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be really good. I'm looking forward to that drop of that from you, because that'll be a great conversation, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure people are hopefully interested. I know my channel, I just do Delphi. That's really the only case that I know about. But hey, I'll put it out for those who like it. If not, you don't have to watch it. But
Right.
it's just interesting, just her thinking and how she analyzes different things.
I just think that there's just that case has got some cut and dried stuff that just really bothers me. And I know that people say that the initial investigator that showed up there, the lady, and I can't think
Mhm,
of her name off the top of my head, but you know who I'm talking about.
mhm.
You know, when she makes the comment about meeting John's eyes after
Yep.
he laid down JonBenet,
She's like, I
I
knew.
mhm, that has just bothered me. I mean, this is a person who does this for a living, you guys, you know, and sees these types of people, and I'm just like, wow. That to me
Mhm,
was huge. So, um, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes, but I do want to see justice in that case as well.
mhm.
Um, so how are you feeling about the community as a whole, Delphi? I know that, there's been a lot of crazy going on and stuff, and we all try to stay out of it. I know you try to stay out of it for sure. The rest of us, there's a few of us that try to just stay in our lane. I'm kind of like you. I don't really pay attention to all of that, and I don't watch them. I don't go look at their stuff. I get emails constantly about somebody talked about you last night on, I'm getting
Mhm,
talked about all the time, I guess, by these
mhm,
people, and I don't know who they are, and I don't care. Let
mhm,
them talk. I'm here about facts, and that's what I try to do the best about, and also support the family,
mhm,
um, because to me, that's why I started the channel in the first place. I'm just curious as to how you're
mhm.
feeling about the case, I guess.
Yeah. So I like the Ron Logan debunk video. I'll challenge, or other people should be able to look at that and see what they could debunk on that and see what's wrong. If there's things wrong, like prove me wrong. And okay, if I'm wrong. But when people start attacking you as a person, they
Mhm.
have weak arguments. They can't attack your method. They can't attack what you're saying. So then they go for you. So that just shows weakness. So I'm open to, hey, show what's wrong with it. It's probably not perfect. there's some things that I would kind of poke at as if I'm challenging it, but I just want to see if anyone else will try and challenge it. So, I mean, for as starting off as being interested in the case, I'd listen to different people and then just kind of use your brain as a filter. Like, this stuff, it's not verified, it doesn't seem right, and just listen to a few different ones and see if they provide evidence and proof. And again, I think maybe some people aren't there for the truth. They're entertained by someone, and whatever they say, okay, they'll go with it. So just depends what people are looking for. But I always try to get through to what the truth is. And I did the video, I think I probably sent it to you before anyone else, like I normally do, but the one talking about the DH and the friend, and
Yes.
when that came out, and I try to say it in there twice, or I do say, like, if I'm missing some information here, share it in the comments. And I don't 100% know, and I say this, that his friend, Rick Allen's friend, was the one who DH was referencing. I think there could be a case. No one brought this up yet. I kind of wait to see if people are going to bring things up, because like I said, I argue against myself. I think there's a case that he was referring to BW, Brad. I'll say that he could have been referring to him. There could be a case for that. So I don't know 100% sure. It's just, I thought it was worth bringing up. It was interesting. I mean, who else could it be? I know it wasn't that James Lucas guy, because he was on the 16th. So people came to me and asked, hey, is it James Lucas? Because I did a video in June, and so did the Inquisitor, kind of talking about this DH person. So then they're asking, hey, well, now people are saying it's James Lucas. Like, no, that's not true, because they interviewed him on the 16th, on February 16th.
Right.
And DH put this on February 15th. Now, granted, in my video, I didn't put the screenshot that had the timestamp of when DH put it, because it's kind of bad quality. And I don't even think I got it in time for my video. I got it sent to me like a day or two after my video. I was like, oh, yeah, that's the one I was looking for. But so now I have it timestamped that DH, his comments were on February 15th. So it was just interesting.
Wow. I like hearing all of that from you. Gail, thank you so much for your 10 gifts of membership to my channel. That is amazing. Thank you so much for your support.
Oh, I saw Coach Kev is in here.
Yeah.
All
Hey,
right.
Coach.
I'm just checking real quick. And Todd sent some good emails. Got to get back to Todd.
Mitzi, thank you so much for your 10-month membership to my channel. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Yeah, there's some good we have some good people in here. Deb from True Crime Notebook just gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. You're awesome. You guys are awesome. And Fig is too. And I know that everybody was so excited when they found out that I was going to get to have him on. Because anytime we can pick his brain, we want to do that. So
and CJK too. I always see CJK like standing up for what they believe. It's awesome. Then
CJK
don't take crap from anyone.
Yep. Nope. CJK is amazing. And they all and Purdue RN is another one. I mean, they all just, they
I wouldn't mess with them.
No. Nope, for sure. Joe Newman's another one who always comes with some really good analysis, I think, and thought processes. So I always am happy to see Joe in the chats as well. But yeah, we have some really good people out there. Let's say hello to some of these people. Hey, Kentucky Sleuth Angel. Hi, Mary Flynn. Hey, Sparky. Good to see you guys. And Todd is here. He says, so many who want to defend the defendant don't ask the right questions. They don't ask more than one question, or they don't ask any questions and default to police corruption and crazy conspiracy theories. And I completely agree with that. And what the problem is when they default to police corruption or crazy conspiracy theories, they have no evidence of proof. It's just they say it. And just to say it doesn't make it true.
Right. It's an out for them being wrong. It's like, wait, before the Rick Allen arrest, you're saying it was this person. Okay, an arrest is made. And of course, you can't be wrong. So you got to blame someone. So blame the police department. They're corrupt. And the thing is, like, two things could be true at once. There could be some level of corruption in somewhere, ISP or Carroll County. I'm sure there's small things everywhere, but I think corruption is a spectrum too. Like, what do you mean by corruption? Someone lied about their time card, or someone said someone was going a little faster than they were? Like, how far do you want to take it? So I was asked, do you think every single person was corrupt? I mean, the
Right.
FBI, the ISP, the sheriff, it's too elaborate of a thing to do.
There's
And,
just too many people. Most of the time when you're talking about conspiracy theory, there are so many people that would need to be involved that it makes it an impossibility
mhm.
to
Yeah.
think that that many people could cohesively work to keep it all secret. You know what I mean? And to keep it and to make it all work. I just
Mhm.
don't see how scientifically that would work. I just don't.
Yeah, law enforcement made a lot of mistakes. And I
Mhm.
think they need to know about them so that they could find the root cause and fix them, from calling off the dogs to the first night to the tip fiasco, as I call it, from not following up, from having miscommunication. I don't think they gave out enough information soon enough. Things like, why not put guys in down the hill? Why did you wait to put guys? And why was it a photo? Why didn't you put the video up first? Like, things that wouldn't really make a difference as far as guarding the integrity of the case. Why not put that stuff out? And so, yeah, I think they definitely made mistakes, and maybe hindsight's 2020, but yeah, they're not perfect for sure. And this thing should have got solved a lot sooner.
Yep. And I'm sure that they would be the first ones to admit that. And I think once the case gets to court, one way or the other, whether there's a plea deal or whether there's a trial, whatever happens, I think we're going to hear from law enforcement probably more than one that will speak on this case and speak on
Mhm.
what happened and what transpired and some of their own disappointments of
Mhm.
what was overlooked or what path they went or chose that maybe they wish they hadn't, and all of that.
Mhm. Yeah, I think something big that I learned from Julia is, because I'm working on something again for the Odinists to disprove it, and me and Captain Howdy are working on it together. I don't know if I should tell
Yay!
anyone that,
Yay!
but it's going to be a big one. There's lots involved in it.
Good.
We're going to use some clips from Julia and I's conversation, but just doing research on it and just looking up cults and books that were written and all of that. So I read the stat that out of all the investigation, there's been zero proof that
Mhm.
there's been a satanic cult that has killed someone for the reason of a ritual sacrifice. That being the motive, zero. So I read it. I have access to different scientific websites where I could read scientific journals and white papers and all of that. And so there's no evidence of it. So then when I asked Julia, I asked her, and her 22 years of experience and all of her colleagues, because her colleagues are amazing too. Their resume, just the pedigree of those folks on the consultants, amazing. They're like, nope, never saw it. Never saw that happen, never aware of it, that it was a ritualistic sacrifice that killed anyone.
No,
So,
I don't think that we see that. I've thought about it. I've went back and looked to try to see, and it's just like there's just no there's the animals maybe, but not people, not and definitely not children. I don't
yeah,
yeah.
and people will believe it without looking for any evidence. I mean, that
Mhm.
sounded ridiculous up front, and then I still went to go look at the stats on it, and there's none. Now there's one in the 90s where there's like some people got together and they said it was a cult who killed someone, or but really, I mean, you look at what's the difference between a gang and a cult, and why was that called a
Mhm.
cult versus a gang? So there's differences and different definitions of it. Um, yeah, so
Right. And it when you look at the whole thing with the odinism and stuff, I think it's been greatly played up from what it truly is. Because if you actually look at this case and who they're talking about, they're talking about a small group of individuals that called themselves, I would call them more, I wouldn't even call them a cult. I would say they're more like a group that have some real odd thought processes, because it doesn't even really fall in line with Odin. It's more of because they have more white supremacy type thought processes going into all of this. And I mean, I think if you look at Westfall's interview that Sleuth did, you can get that. You kind of get that understanding. I mean, he even admits that he's not a good guy, but I didn't do this, I would never have done this. Yeah, I've done some bad stuff in my day. I mean, he admitted to that. Or some, beat people up, whatever. But never anything like this. And what's the name of their group? I'm trying to, and my brain just kind of went.
You're thinking of the West Memphis 3?
No, I'm thinking of what Brad Holder's group is called.
Oh, I don't know. The Sons of something?
No, they're called, help me out, Deb, True Crime Notebook. I know you know.
Vinlanders?
The Vinlanders. Thank you. The Vinlanders. That's what they called themselves. And they weren't Odinites. They weren't Odinists. They were the Vinlanders. And the Vinlanders is a group that people wanted to join. It was kind of, to me, it reminds me of a motorcycle gang. And I'm not, please don't come at me. I have nothing against motorcycle gangs, you guys. Seriously, I don't. Some of them do amazing work and amazing stuff. But I'm just saying that that's what it kind of reminded me of, because there must have been some sort of initiation for you to join. They didn't accept everybody, all of that. And that's, to me, what people aren't getting here. It was more of these guys, and I guess, I don't know. To me, it's just not this big thing that they're making it out to be, that there's these Odinists running around, murdering children.
Yeah. There's no evidence of that. It's not a thing. The FBI doesn't have any record of it. It's just satanic panic.
Yeah, exactly. And I wonder what your thought process, and I've asked this so many times in my recent live streams, but this same question, but how do you feel about the fact that if you were an innocent person that was accused of a crime like this, that you're not screaming your innocence every chance you get in public, and you are also not being defended by friends and family at every turn? For me, just to say this, and I'm just going to put you on the spot. If you were charged with a crime like this, your friends and family would be freaking floored. They would come out and say, there's no way you could have done this. And we haven't seen any of that. Zero, zilch from Richard Allen's friends or family.
Right. No one's sticking up for him, because I think it was just quiet, mysterious.
Yep. Even no past employees, employers, nobody that's worked with him, friends, colleagues, schoolmates, nobody has come up and said, there's just no way that Ricky could not have done this.
Yeah, and you could even see with these the guys that were accused, Paul Westfall and stuff, they're out there saying, hey, I'm innocent. And I heard there's a few lawsuits that already started. I don't know if they'll be successful, but look how they were when they're accused of something, and they're not even arrested for it. But they seemed upset about it, as rightfully so. Even that first letter that he wrote to the judge, he didn't mention, hey, I'm innocent, get me out of here. It was just, it was very matter of fact. It's almost like he wanted to get some guilt off of his mind. He didn't seem like too worried about getting caught. Maybe he eventually did want to get caught, confess.
Yeah.
to relieve some burden.
Yeah,
You don't know.
that's truly possible as well. I just find that very odd for me. It's been something that's bothered me since his arrest, basically. You would just think that there would be people out there that would be saying, "No way." And there's just not. And I don't, you don't see any character type witnessing going on. And I know there's a gag order on the case, but it's not for everyone. And, you would just think that there would be somebody out there besides his attorneys. And I was speaking with a friend of both of ours today, and he said to me that, he's confessed to his mother, to his wife, to the warden, to the mental health experts at the Westville Correctional, and also to possibly some inmates and guards. And I'm like, that is huge. My family members that are detectives said that anytime you get somebody who is being charged with this type of a crime where they actually admit to doing the crime, it's a huge obstacle for the defense team to overcome.
Oh yeah.
And when you have this many confessions with this many different people, not during an
Right.
interrogation.
Right. People forget that. They want to use,
Yeah.
well, false confessions. Well,
Mm-mm.
it's funny that's mentioned. The most false confessions happen before there's even a perpetrator arrested, apprehended. And when you look at it, the most likely, and you could look up these stats too, the people who confess the most are mentally disabled. They have a mental issue. And so Elvis Fields fits that mold of the most likely person who's going to admit to do a false confession. That and younger people, those are the ones
Yes.
who call in and do kind of these proactive false confessions. And you have false confessions, like you said, when they're being interrogated. That's different. But now no one is interrogating Rick Allen to confess. Seems like he's wanting to get things off his chest because he's telling multiple people, admitting to it, confessing to it. And yeah, it's almost like his defense doesn't want to listen. So don't worry, we'll take care of this. We'll get you out of it. Stop saying that. We got a book to write. We need to be on this for as long as possible. And where it's almost like they're not letting him confess. So I think maybe that's why he wrote different letters to people.
Yeah. The thing that bothers me too, the defense, has this whole thing going on with Elvis. And, it was a blurb in the court document, basically, that they sent to the court about why they feel the Franks motion, or whatever you want to call that document. That document really it just makes me so angry that document even exists and that it's part of the record for the court. But anyway, with that being said, they brought up Elvis in there, and in that blurb they talk about his mentality of a 7-year-old, and then they go on to say how he's given all this evidence and everything. And it's like, but that's what you're relying on? You have a person whose mental capacity we know is this, and you are relying on that as your strong evidence.
Yeah, and
Says
it
a
wasn't.
lot to me. That says a lot about this defense team and what they will go to, what effort they will go to put anything out there in the narrative for their client, which we all know we would want defense to defend us at all costs against this. But again, I also say that defense lawyers need to have ethics as well, and I don't think them relying on the mental capacity of a 7-year-old is probably their strongest suit at this point.
Right. And the fact that they've filed some continuous motions. Remember, before this started, I was talking to a lawyer friend, and they said, watch, if the defense ever delays anything, then that's just like a sign of guilt in his mind, because an innocent person is going to say, do everything you can, give me that speedy trial. They wouldn't mess around with leaks, or they would take this case more serious. They wouldn't delay anything. Like they haven't turned over any of the discovery, even though they kept saying, we're waiting on the prosecution to turn it over. Well, the prosecution was, but they haven't. So all those tactics, it just shows they're scrambling and they're lying because they have to make up a story because they know that their client is probably guilty based off, I mean, he's saying that he is, it's been recorded. The defense even brought up the confession. I don't know if people realize that, but during the hearing when the confessions were first brought up, it was the defense who brought up the confessions. Then the Nick McClellan, yes, talked about it a lot, but that's because the defense brought it up and they never denied him
Can you
from
imagine
happening.
what Nick was thinking that day? He probably, his head was probably ready to explode. Oh my God, they brought it up. I get to talk about this now.
Oh, and boy, did he talk about
Oh,
it.
did he? Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, they brought it up, and they never denied that they happened. They were just making excuses for it. Well, he did this because he was under, mental distress and things like that. And then when it got to the point when the Nick asked for the mental health records, the defense like, nope, don't want that. You can't see those. So, I mean, it's just the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, no, I totally think so. Mrs. Depp said that what Brett and Alice said was accurate. Being in the courtroom for the hearing in June at Frosty, that whole day seemed like a response to the defense tactic to cover for their client. Well, that again, that's what they're there for, is to cover for their client and try to defend him. But I think it's really difficult when you have the indefensible. You know what I mean? It's like they're up against the rock and a hard place, and that's why they're going where they're going and doing what they're doing. And it's kind of sad, in my opinion. But Lynn GMB asked, what do you think will happen on March 18th?
I don't know. Yeah, with some of the
Any
court
gut
stuff, I'm just
instinct?
no. I can't predict stuff that's going to happen in course because who knows? And it's just a game. They're playing both sides. If people do start looking up other cases, you'll start to see that these aren't so unique, right? Like I only really follow this case, but just seeing what's going on, I research other different cases and looking at different things, and things aren't as unique as some people might think. Even the satanic panic thing in the Scott Peterson case with Lacey Peterson, they brought up that it was a satanic cult that might have took Lacey. I mean, they brought that up too. So it's not a one-time thing. It seems like it's been done before, but that's the defense lawyers. They're going to be defense lawyers, and the prosecution is going to be prosecution, and they're going to go back and forth. That's why I'm just ready for the trial to start.
Mm-hmm. The reason, their whole job as defense attorneys is to plant reasonable doubt, and they only have to convince one juror, and that's really the bottom line. The weight of the weight of this case is on the prosecution. They're the ones that have to prove everything. The defense doesn't have to prove his innocence. The defense doesn't have to prove anything, and people forget that sometimes. That it's that's why the defense, I think, does what they do so well, because they're able to pretty much say whatever without proof, because they don't have to prove what they say. All they have to do is get people to believe it and convince one person that sits on that jury. Do you honestly think there's going to be a trial this year? Because I'm beginning to believe there might not be.
I know from with my cousin's case, it took 5 years after arrest was made, and maybe
Right.
it was during COVID and all of that stuff. So when the first trial was announced, the first trial date, I'm like, there's no way that's going to happen. Different states, so maybe it'll happen, but I think the longer it gets pushed back, the more likely I think it'll get pushed back. But I don't know how far, but maybe not. It's different set of circumstances, but
I just really, my feeling is the prosecution's ready, and I think they would go tomorrow, but I think it's the defense that's dragging their feet. And I think that every turn you see them trying to delay. So I really don't think they want him in court. And I think that for defense attorneys, the longer that you can put time between the actual crime, people's memories, and the actual time you go to court is it's better for the defense, obviously, because witnesses forget, witnesses' memories become cloudy. They worry about that, that's one of the things. So, I mean, Judge Gull is going to, determine how long they're allowed to drag things out, because that's what her job is. But, yeah, I hope October happens, but boy, man, I just really, really wonder sometimes. So I was just looking at see if there was any other questions in here, because I promised Fig, you guys, that I was only keeping him for an hour. So if you guys have any questions for him that you would like to have him answer, please drop them in the chat. Somebody asked, what confession is mentioned other than the phone call? Did I miss something?
Yeah, it's mentioned that talked to medical staff. It was in a Wish TV article that came out, and it was not up very long. It was the same one I took a screenshot of, where they talk about, they say that he was suffering from certain mental conditions, which he wasn't. So yeah, it was in an article, and then it went away. And so did a few other things that the defense said. I bet they called and said, whoops, we didn't want to say all of that. So that's where it is. And yep, I guess people will find out eventually.
Yes. And he has been in contact, obviously, with mental health professionals, because he's had a lot of mental health issues since he was incarcerated, which is understandable. I mean, especially no matter what, we know he's innocent until proven guilty, but just being incarcerated, taken from your home one day, put into incarceration and unable to be free, has an enormous amount of mental digression, I guess I should say. For most individuals, we would digress. We would have all kinds of mental health problems due to that: depression, anxiety, whatever. So I think a lot of what he's been expressing could very well have been put on by him. I think he deliberately was eating evidence. I think that wasn't just a mental health thing. I think he just deliberately was ticked off because of discovery that was being given to him that he was mad about. So he ate it.
And what Julia brought up was a great point. Some I didn't consider until she brought it up, was someone who has this power and control type behavior, where they need to be in control of things. They need power, such as the Golden State Killer. When they lose that, they really digress as far as mentally and even physically. So being in a prison, you no longer have power and control. Someone else is telling you, like, when you could do things, when you could eat, when you could go outside. So she said they regress even faster than normal when being in control and having power is so important to them. So maybe that's why we saw such a rapid decline. And then, or it could just be, part of a show to look a certain way, because they were trying to show almost like they're going for the insanity plea at first. But when that kind of got shot down after he was sent and seen by mental health professionals, and they're like, no, there's no history of it. So I think they had to switch up and go with the Odinist thing.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, the March 18th hearing is going to be the first time that Gull has seen these two attorneys face to face since all this stuff happened with the Supreme Court. And she's a really strong lady. And I know that she had some health issues there, but I think she's up for this challenge. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how she handles this on the 18th. I think there's a lot of leeway of what she could or could not do. So hold on, one other thing. I was see if there's anything else in here that people were saying. Joe wants to know, do you think there are other actors, someone close who knew and didn't say or protected Richard Allen?
I think for something to go on for 6 years, it's quite possible. And with other actors doesn't mean other killers. I think people automatically jump to, oh, there's other people involved in the actual murders. No, there's aiding and abetting. There's lying about certain things. There's so many other
Obstruction of
things.
justice.
Obstruction
Mhm.
of justice. That's usually what happens. And we saw it in another case where, man, someone shot this. It was a pregnant young 18-year-old with her boyfriend, and some drugs were involved. But then the parents got arrested for like helping hide the bodies or doing something. So I think it could have been something like that where maybe someone knew information or possibly lied. Um, so I think that would be the other bad actor. That's most likely. It's not going to be there was another person there who helped with the murders. That's my opinion. What's up, Aspen?
Hi, Aspen. Hey, Steffa. Good to see you both. So glad that you guys are here. Do you think that it'll make any big, huge difference if she removes these attorneys again?
I think, yeah, I think hopefully the truth comes out no matter who the attorneys are. So if he's guilty, he's going to be guilty. If he's innocent, he's going to be innocent, regardless of who the attorneys are.
Right.
And then I like when people tell us, well, it's people are innocent until proven guilty, which is for sure, but that doesn't mean I can't have an opinion about what I think. Just like,
Yes.
people were watching the Super Bowl, it's the third quarter. Like, who do you think's going to win? Like, nope, I don't have an opinion. I can't give you my
Yeah,
opinion. It's
exactly.
like,
Everybody
yeah, I
has
can
an
give my
opinion,
opinion.
right?
I'm not on the jury.
No, exactly. Sleuthy Goosey asks the obstruction of justice. Can we talk about that a little bit more specifically, action-wise? What would be included in that, Fig? What would be considered obstruction of justice?
Well, I think I speculated. All I'm going to speculate on that. I don't know. I don't know what exactly. I was just trying to answer a question, and it was my speculation that it would be something like that.
Yeah.
If anything, I think just based off stats, that's more likely than it being a second killer being involved. So,
And what I would say of obstruction of justice, I'll just put this out there. Usually what that means is that somebody knew something or had information about the crime and didn't share it with police. They obstructed justice for this crime. When you know things either beforehand or after the crime and you don't come forward, whether that be that you knew Richard Allen or you just whatever, that's considered obstruction of justice. Also, obstruction of justice could be people who insert themselves into cases. And I want to say that I want to put that out there because we've had a lot of that in this case where we have had certain individuals insert themselves into this case in ways that may not have been in the best interest of the case. Law enforcement has the ability to charge those people with obstruction of justice after the fact.
mm-hmm.
So that can happen too. And that's, but yeah, obstruction of justice is usually blocking justice for the case in some way. And it can be just as simple as somebody knowing something that didn't come forward.
Right. And I have no evidence, no reason to believe that's what happened. I'm just going based off of stats. When they do say other bad actors, usually seems like someone who helped in some way and helped with the person who's being accused of it. And yeah, one way of helping is by not coming forward with information that they knew.
Yes. Yep. And I like I said before, I can't say enough about what I think. And I believe that most people, we've had over 200 people in this chat tonight. And I think that it stands to say why people come to hear you speak and talk about the case, because your critical thinking is so important to it. And we followed you since you started your channel, obviously, and you've put out some really thought-provoking content. And I enjoy hearing you speculate or give a theory on what you think based on what you know. And I know you know more than me. And I'm fine with that because I trust you. I trust who you are. And I know that what you know, I can trust. That I think is where it's at with a lot of people that follow you, Fig, and care about what you had to say, is that you're trustworthy. And sadly, we all know that in this community around Delphi, that isn't the case. We can't trust everyone who's putting out content and putting information out there for it to be real. And like you said, you put out your Ron Logan information because you felt that it was important. And it was, to me, it was an absolute great time for it to come out because we've had so many high profile people bringing him back into the mix of things again, even though he's never been charged. Law enforcement has never come forward and said, we believe Ron Logan was part of this crime, but we can't prove it. They've never said that. They've never, will they? Maybe. I doubt it because I believe everything points away from him. I just do. But
yeah, we're not saying he's a good person.
Exactly.
It's just that he didn't. It's two separate things.
It's definitely two separate things. I don't think he was a good person. Do I think that he was a guy that was really messed up? I do. I think that he also probably felt that, he owned that land and he owned all of that. And he could be the one that, gave this great tour of the property, which is what he was doing and stuff. And it was kind of like 15 minutes of fame for him.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't, I just don't see this 77-year-old man just one day deciding to go out and do this. Even if, and I say this, even if he had some disgusting psychological fantasy life, I just don't see him doing that. And I mean, I think the statistics speak for that.
Yeah, it'd be the oldest person ever in the history to kill strangers.
Yes.
In the history of the United States. So yeah, you have that. We're breaking history with these theories. It's either that or the Odinist would be the first ritual sacrifice since I don't know how long, but 100 years. That would be the first one. So like when you see these theories are going to be, once in a lifetime or world breaking records, like it's probably not as realistic as the person who said they were there that day during that time, wearing exactly what the man on the bridge was wearing, who confessed to the murders, like, Occam's razor. Let's start there.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah.
and let him go through the justice system. I have nothing against Richard Allen. I don't know who he is.
No, I don't either. It's like, I didn't put Richard Allen forth as the suspect in this case. Law enforcement did. And, I've looked at the evidence that law enforcement gave us. They gave us the probable cause document as to why they feel, he's the guy. And I will go back and say it. I put myself on the spot. I saw his picture that they released that day, and I nearly fell off my chair because to me, that was the man on the bridge. I was absolutely 100% convinced that that's him. And come to find out, he says it's him pretty much. I mean, he puts himself there, and then I was out there, So law enforcement has said, somebody asked this the other day, how does law enforcement know it's him? Law enforcement said after they viewed the video that Abby and Libby put out, that they were 100% sure that this person was responsible for this crime. And they needed this person to, come forward. They said that first. They needed the person to come forward. And then afterwards, when he didn't, is when they came out and said he was a suspect.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, can't get past that for me, you know, and I hope you continue to put out videos. I'm just going to say that because I like your work. I know you're, like you said, I know you're busy. I know you don't, uh, you don't do a lot of other cases and stuff. I'm going to also push a little bit for you to, when you do have some spare time, to get back onto Flora, because I have a couple of things that I think maybe would be worth looking into on that case. And Flora needs our help. I mean, it needs that critical thinking. And I think there's definitely what law enforcement, I think the more I hear about Flora and some of the stuff that I now know, I think Doug Carter was right. They need someone to come forward. I think they have some suspects, and I think they need more. They don't have enough to charge someone. You know, that case is so different because it's not just a straightforward murder. It's actually arson, and arson is very difficult to prove.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. And so we, yeah, probably one more video. Me and Captain Howdy, we've been working on it a little bit, but we'll get that one out. And
I'm so excited. I love the captain's new channel format with his membership. I'm a member and I'm proud to be a member of his channel, and I have always respected him. You talk about somebody with a mind, you know what I mean? And you know that from working with him. You guys remind me a lot of each other because of that, the way you're able to think, your thought process. But
yeah, and there's multiple people who we don't see eye to eye on, but who are just respectful. And like, we don't see eye to eye on everything, but we'll discuss things and challenge each other, and it makes us, maybe think a little different or make our own thoughts even stronger. Or so it's just good to have that discussion with people who might see things different and hear them out, and then come up with your own opinion, because no one knows 100% everything. So we do have to fill in the gap sometimes, but then once we get new information and learn that we filled in that gap incorrectly, then adjust, and it's all right. We don't know.
Yeah. Get with Coach Kev. He knows a lot about Flora as well. And I will share with you what I know. And I know that there are some other people that will share the information with you as well, because Flora needs our help. I don't know. I just, like I said, I don't want to see you go away from our from our Delphi community. I know you're here for the long haul. I know you'll follow this case through to the end because you have worked so hard on it. But again, it's not like you have a dog in the fight. You're open to whatever happens. We want justice for the girls.
Yeah, well, my Aunt Fran is calling me, so I have to get running. I gotta talk to Aunt Fran. We got dinner plans.
Well, I'm so glad that you came on tonight. I enjoyed it very, very much. And
thank you for having me.
I so look forward to having you again. Take care of yourself, take care of the family, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
All right. Thank you. You too.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Bye, Fig.
Bye.
You guys, I'm telling you, he's just a great guy. And speaking of the barbecue, he's Aspen is too. Even though Aspen and I haven't seen each other on my channel in a while, Aspen, I need you to reach out to me so that we can do a live stream together. You know that how much I respect you, and I would like you and Deb to be on that one too together, because that would be great. That would be awesome. And maybe I can even get Frank Meister to come up with us, because I just like talking to you about this case, and you have as many insights into it as anyone. And I respect you, Aspen. So get with me. I know you're busy. I know you're a busy guy, but you've got to make room for me. Okay. So So I appreciate everybody that came out tonight. If you guys have any questions for me, please drop them in the chat. I'll be here for probably another 10 minutes, and then I'm going to head out as well. So yeah, if you guys want to, say anything or anything else. Frosty Frosty says, anyone who thinks Rick Allen has explaining to do is all connected in some way. I'll see y'all at the barbecue. Oh my God, it's just funny. What? Who's not a great guy and needs to turn himself into the authorities? Who are they talking about? Um Yes. He described the clothes that he was wearing during his initial interview with Dan Doolin in February of 2017, and it did match Bridge Guy. He did not know that he had been filmed. I think that was a shock to him. I do not think he knew that Abby filmed him. Hey, Tech Deaf. How are you, my dear? So good to see you. Oh, Priscilla of Boston, you're welcome. Thank you so much for all of you guys being here. I appreciate it so very much. Like I said, getting the chance to talk to Fig about, if you guys haven't seen his videos with his interview with the retired FBI agent, please make sure you go look at those, go check them out. If you haven't subscribed to his channel, please do so. I know I saw you earlier and you were quiet. I was like, what's he so quiet for? But yeah, I hope that everyone enjoyed the show and enjoyed listening to what he had to say. I know that people want to ask him questions. And yeah, it's in Dan Doolin's statement. You guys can find that in the document, in the court documents. Dan Doolin didn't ask what he was wearing. He opted to tell him what he had been wearing. So yeah. Thanks, Purdue. And I'm so glad that you were here. It's always good to see you. And like I said, I felt really bad that the time constraint came upon in the middle of True Crime Web's live, but it was the only time that Fig could do it. So I had to go with that. And I know there'll be people that watch on the replay, which is fine for me. I just want to give you guys a heads up. The next couple of weeks, this coming weekend, a week from today, I will not be here at all that weekend. I'm going to be up in Naperville. And the weekend after that, I'm not going to be around as either. Now, if something happens, I may go live 1 or 2 days in between there. And I know that I want to talk about a couple of other cases. I am really, really upset about the case with the little Soto girl out of Florida, and what has happened to her has just made me sick, you guys, absolutely sick. And I think it's something that I need to cover as far as parents needing to know, and especially single moms, who they're allowing to be around their children. And I'm not trying to throw her mom under the bus here, you guys. I'm not. I'm just saying that we need to have, we just need to have a better handle on who we allow our children to be around. Um, so, and I just can't even imagine what that poor child has gone through for the last 2 years. And just sad, sad. So, yeah, Aspen, Sebastian Rogers is another one, and also the little View boy, the 3-year-old that's been missing now for well over, I think it's 9. We're going into 9 days. He's 3 years old. And I know that's not going to probably end well, even though my heart is breaking. Elijah, thank you. Elijah View. I'm following that case, and it just absolutely breaks my heart. And it's, there's just so many, you guys, absolutely so many of these cases out there. And it's just sad. So sad. But other than that, I'm doing well. For anybody that wants to know, I'm still feeling amazing. I am preparing for my knee replacement surgery in April. Working out as much as I can to try to strengthen the muscles in that leg. And yeah, it's it is what it is. There is going to be Randy's Walk April the 6th in Delphi for Abby and Libby at the Monon High Trail. My plan is at this point in time, I will be there that day for that walk. I'm not positive that I will be there on Sunday for the walk in Flora. I'm still trying to work that logistics out. But I definitely want to be there for Abby and Libby because I think I'm going to be able to. So I'm looking forward to that. And everybody remain civil to one another, please, in my chat. We don't argue here. We don't disrespect one another. It's okay to challenge people's viewpoints, but don't make it personal. I did time somebody out. I kicked somebody from the channel for that earlier. And I don't even like the joking when people are doing that and jokingly mistreating one another. It's not something that I like. But yeah, that's what's going on with me. I've just been staying really busy. I have been working on with my spiders. My tarantula craze has increased. And I have quite a few more spiders than I had before. And I've been enjoying that very much. My diamond painting is still going on. I'm still doing that and working out diligently. I've lost 175 pounds and since December of 2022, and I'm the healthiest I have been. I can't even tell you how long. I mean, it's well over 20 years, probably, or longer, maybe 25 years. So for those of you that send me emails all the time and ask me about how I'm doing or how to thanking me for making you understand that it's possible. It is so important to remember that I'm 62 years old and that you're never too old to make those changes in your life for the better of yourself. It is difficult to do. It's difficult for people to wrap their heads around and get the support. But I mean, it's, I have a really, really good support system who has been behind me. And I am so, so thankful for that. But yeah, I thank God every day for what I have been given back because I'm able to play with my grandson and to to be out and about and up and doing all these things. Now, if I can just get this knee to stop hurting, yeah, then we'll be on the road. We'll be on the road. I was hoping that I'd be able to go to CrimeCon. I really was thinking about trying to make it to Nashville because it's so close this year, to go to CrimeCon, but it's on May 31st. The weekend of May 31st, and I don't know how my recovery from my knee will be. So I don't know that I'm going to be able to make it this year, but definitely next year I'm going to be at CrimeCon because I really want to go. And there's some content creators that I would like to see there that do some bang up stuff. Just like Fig said, the prosecutors, I love their podcast. There's just a lot of people out there doing some really amazing stuff. And Deb, you are thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for all of that. Oh, CJK, you're going to do the shoulder replacement. Good job. It's important. Walking is the best. Seriously. I have been walking consistently since August after my surgery, and I'm here to tell you guys, walking is the best exercise that you can do. Just walk. Just walk. It opens up the mind. It gives you a great outlook on things, and yeah, it really is. So, well, guys, I'm gonna get out of here, and again, thank you so much for everyone being here. Justice for Abby and Libby. They're the reason that we're all here. They should be the reason that we're all here. My heartfelt love and prayers go to Mike and Becky and to Kelsey and to Anna and to Carrie and Derek, because I know that they struggle with this case and all the ups and downs and ins and outs. So my heart goes out to them. Yes, CJK, please keep me updated on when your surgery is going to be. If you drop me an email, I would certainly love to know so that I can keep abreast of how you're doing. Mine's 2 weeks after Easter is when my surgery is. So the 15th of April. It's coming up fast. Yeah. So I hope that everyone has a good rest of your weekend, what's left of it. And I hope that we stop having so many of these horrific stories in our news feeds, because it's really starting to become ridiculous, you guys. But yeah, thanks everybody. I'm going to exit out of here and leave you with some of my beautiful music from Tech Death. I'm going to be prodding him and poking him to do some more music for me, because I want some more music. I love it. I love listening to him, and I could listen to him play for hours and hours. Thank you, Just a Mama's All. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you. Thank you. Don't watch the replay. It's well worth it. And so glad to see you all. So take care, everyone. Bye.